Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Let me know if I'm coming in loud and clear, video or audio. For anyone who's interested, relatively new microphone that I used in the last video, which is the Blue Spark SL. I think it's been discontinued. I got it on very cheap, usually a few $100, reduced to 60. And yeah, hope you like it. Camera is the GH7 with a 12mm f1.4 Leica lens running through a Rodecaster Pro audio interface. So anyway, with all the tech nerds, gearheads like me out of the way, let's talk about today's subject, which is this, about performing for others. I enjoyed making the last video. It's funny, the internet is full of really sensationalist stuff where we can make fun of people and judge people, but the moment we start judging ourselves, really saying, okay, no, let me make sure I'm not the problem. The moment we start doing that, those videos don't get popular, but I find them the most interesting discussions. The mic looks like something from Star Wars. Actually, that's a good eye. Yeah, this stuff here, this looks very Star Wars, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. It looks like a an Empire camera. It's all black. I actually like the look of it. I'm not a huge fan of this. I am a big fan of the actual microphone, this thing. It's like they took an old-fashioned mic and they modernized it. Let me turn down the exposure just a bit so it's not too overblown. All right. Hey to the regulars. Hey, Peg, Big Ol, Barbarian, Luke, Ted. Hi, guys. And yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. If you haven't watched my video, have a look here. This one here that's animating, why being nice is making you miserable. I might change the thumbnail for some reason. I don't think it's, while I don't mind it, I think it doesn't catch people's eye enough. So the thumbnail might be changing. The video will stay the same. I tend to do that lately. You got to, if it's not being fed immediately by the AI algorithm, then, you know, you put effort into a video and you want to share it with people. You want to get discussion, you want to get views and things like that, for nothing other than really, I put all this effort. I want to have a conversation with people by them absorbing it and thinking about it, and maybe even starting their own YouTube channel and making another video that furthers the idea and discussing it in the comment section. So hopefully my voice is okay. Yesterday I really wore myself out. I did a heck of a lot. I destroyed myself at the gym, and in the evening Steph and I just went all out and ate like pigs, and now I've got a food hangover and my back is killing me from the gym in a good way. And thankfully it's Sunday and I can relax. All right. Yeah, I like this camera. Why is it red here? Anyway. Again, let me know your thoughts too. While I can blab like the rest of them, like the best of them, it is much more enjoyable for me when people interact during the streams. I think the more esoteric or personal the subjects are, people don't have much to say, but when you make videos or you have topics about pointing the finger at politics or other things outside you, like blaming them and saying they're good or they're bad, people have something to say about it, they have an opinion. But self-reflection, it's not so common to have people really have something to offer, throw something on the table. So I'll keep talking until maybe some of you guys have something to say. I've talked about this subject of, you know, people who don't get you. For me, it's very frustrating. And most of my channel has been about me expressing the ideas I felt were stuck in my throat. It started primarily back in the day because I had nobody to talk to about my frustrations with being able to say no and yes to relationships and going through the same patterns over and over again, being the nice guy. And this last video I made, I encourage you to watch it. Why performing for others is making you miserable. Is you can get annoyed in private afterwards all the time, but if you keep going back into the same situations with people that you're afraid to say your honest opinion to, and you don't want to upset Chicky Poo, who should understand you more than everyone else. She should understand when you're joking, your sense of humor. She should join in when you're, in a fun way, criticizing the world and being a bit of a douchebag yourself in a humorous way, like a comedian might on stage, but you're doing it with the audience of one, who is this person in your life. And the same with your best friends. But if you're walking on eggshells with your best friends, with your family, with supposedly the person you say you love, if you can't do love or friendship with the people you throw these labels on, then it's bullshit. It is. You can get on your podium and voice these platitudes. You can say you love your camera, but if you never use it, you don't. You want to. You can say you love your family that treat you like crap, and you want to, and there's something in you hardwired you haven't addressed, but you aren't really, and you don't really. You may want to, but you need to distinguish between what you really wish was true and what you desire, as opposed to what is and what you can get and what you can put your hands on and what words you can say. The people who love you should want you to be honest. When they say, come on, be honest, it should give you permission to actually take that on face value. And like, if I can be honest, even uncomfortably, to this person, I should be able to tell them. So if your partner really loves you and she say, no, be honest, tell me what you think. Do I look fat in this dress? Or do I look, you don't have to be rude, but if the closest people in your life, if the words mean anything, if those labels mean anything to you, if words at all mean anything to you, then you should be able to act and speak in ways that the words actually make sense to you. Because if we say we love people or care or trust them, but we really don't, we hide things from them, we hide parts of ourselves and our desires, then the person's really doesn't understand us. We're performing our way through our relationships. And then you start doing the same. You start thinking, well, you can feel it when there's a distance between you, when you're both kind of curating yourselves for each other. Yeah, this is true. Like in the dating sense, this is biological. We don't want the eggs to go, and so we don't want to upset the female. I think Bill Maher said it. He says, it's a society of making women nod, but also we make everyone nod. We make our parents nod. We make our bosses nod. And a lot of people get online and in the comments section act like really tough trolls that know everything and they're evolved, but they don't speak this way in public. All they do is avoid the public and saying, well, I'm too smart to deal with them. Really? Well, this world should be yours as well. It's not just the loud idiots out there that you say don't understand you and talk shit. You should be able to be a voice of reason and say exactly, beautifully, clearly, exactly what you think and speak in ways that you're proud of. You know, you can say the world's full of idiots, and like, I get it. I get annoyed at people around me in traffic all the time. But don't escape from the world. Don't stop saying your yeses and your nos, and let all these idiots take over a world that, you know, you have every right to be part of. You have every right to say things. You have every right to say, Mum and Dad, no, I'm not going to be a lawyer. I'm sorry. I know you want me to, but I'm older. if I become a lawyer or a doctor, I've got to live with it. I don't want to do it. I'm torturing myself to do this because I don't want you to disown me. I'm telling you, like, I don't want to be a lawyer or a doctor. I'm only doing it because I want you to love me and still respect me. And if I become a bricklayer or an artist, are you saying you'll disown me? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying you won't love me? And if they, I mean, you got to be an asshole parent to say, well, yes, we don't want to have anything to do with you if you're a bricklayer. Then you should say, well, okay, I know they don't love me. It's black and white. They've told you they don't love you. They really, it's obvious, these things, but we don't want to admit them. We try and negotiate. Well, how can I believe that they actually love me when all my spidey senses are saying they don't, and I know they don't, and I feel that they don't, but I don't want to trust myself. I've relayed this story before, but the house I actually bought over 20 years ago when I was moving out of home and I was looking for somewhere, I'd shortlisted this house and one or two others kind of that I was looking in those areas. And it was a combination of being close enough to my family, 15 to half an hour away at least, no more, and also affordable. And the girl I was with at the time, you know, she was with me, and so she'd come along to these houses I was looking at and walk through, and we'd been together for about a year and a half at that point, and so we'd be talking about moving in together and the future and things like that, and she'd be, you know, positively talking about, yeah, I'd love to live here or there, here and there. And I remember this house, this area, I really liked it. And for a while now, she's the kind of person that just wants what she wants. And I'm the kind of guy, I don't need much. As long as it's something I don't hate, if it's no big deal, I just go along with it. It's like, yeah, no big deal. I don't hate it. I don't mind it. I'll pick what you want. We'll go to this restaurant. I don't care. I can find something on the menu that I like. It doesn't bother me. I'd only speak up about the things that I really wanted. But this was something, this is a house I'm buying. She wasn't chipping in, yet she was almost deciding where I should buy a house because of where our relationship would end up, and she would maybe move in and so on and so forth. And I remember when it was this house and a couple of others, and I told her and showed her about this house. I could tell she didn't like it. She hated it. I think she grew up in the suburb next to this one, and she didn't have a good upbringing, and she associated with this area. And I remember us having an argument, and she said, if you buy that house, as in this one, if you buy that house, I am never moving in with you. And so for me, it was like, all right, you don't love me then. And this house is exactly the one I bought. Not really to spite her, but because I wanted this one the most. And I sat down and thought, like, am I really going to buy the second or third place house? Or maybe even, she was suggesting areas I couldn't afford because she thought they were cool and trendy and fashionable and next to, I don't know, dog parks and fancy cafes and bullshit that I could not afford or wasn't really part of my lifestyle. But anyway, you have to get to a point where you say, I'm going to cross over a line I can't come back from. And if I choose this, if I buy this other house, if I choose the profession my parents want, if I choose the job Chicky Poo wants, if I get married and I'm not ready, if I have kids and I don't want to be a father, or I'm not ready yet, I don't know how I feel about it, that is a line you cannot come back from, or it's very hard to. And if you have the courage to come back from it, you might lose a lot of friends. People won't see you in a good light. You know, you can agree to have a kid to be a nice guy, and later on you can say, I never wanted this and I don't want to have anything to do with this kid. And you might have the sociopathic / stoic tendency to go through with it and never have anything to do with her kid, because that's the way I was. It's like I told any woman that I was with seriously, and, you know, you're not using protection anymore. It's like, you know exactly how I feel about kids. I don't want to have children at all. If you accidentally get pregnant and you force me, it's like, I'm going to fight you tooth and nail. You're not going to get a cent from me. I'd rather go to jail and burn everything down. that's not my child. I don't care. I don't want to, it's not my child, it's yours because only you decided. I've got that kind of Balkan, Russian, Serbian coldness to me that you transgress, you really betray me in a certain way. I turn into very cold. It's like, be fair and I'll be nice. I'll give you everything. But if you betray me, you act like a selfish arsehole. If you walk all over me, and that's, I think, how I was able to, you can be a nice guy, and I've been nice up until a point where you go, hang on a minute, they're pushing me off a cliff and they're smiling. They don't care about me at all. And it doesn't matter if it's family, friends, or your girlfriend. Like, if they, just remind yourself, if they are supposed to love you the way they say they do and their title demands that they do, when people say as a mother, as a father, and they proudly wear that title, then you have to act in accordance with that title. Otherwise, you don't just get to use it flippantly. If someone says they love you, they should be able to hear anything and take it in the context by which they know you. They should know you. But if you say a joke and they wince and they get offended and triggered, and you have to keep apologizing and saying, oh, sorry, dear, sorry, just joking, just joking. I see these couples, married, grown men and women, they've got kids. My age, middle age, it's just, and they're still, the guy's walking on eggshells around his older wife like him, and they've got kids who are in middle school, and it's like, at what point, do you get sick of being scared? Your parents want you to be brave, and you want to be brave. You want to be able to at least say the words you want. What are they going to do? You say no. What are they going to do? I know it's primal. I know it comes from not upsetting mummy or daddy because you need a roof over your head and they feed you and that low-level Maslow stuff. I get it. But at one point do you go, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I have every right to say my words as civilly and as eloquently, even better than anyone else. So objectively, I have nothing to be ashamed of because it was said beautifully. And their offense is on them because they just don't like what I had to say. Okay, that's a bit of a rant. If any of you have anything to add during the stream, if you want to comment during the stream, add your 2 cents, super chat, or like Ted here, add 3 emojis like smiley faces before your comment, and I'll see it during the stream. Thanks for the membership, Brakia. I appreciate it, man. That was like a metaphysical back rub. Across says, I think performing for yourself is worse than performing for others. Yeah. Because when others perform, you can kind of judge them and go, oh, what a loser, or that was a good performance. You can admire a performance. I mean, how do you really know? But you know if it feels like you're touching a sticky doorknob. You know if after you walk away and you go, oh, good, why'd I say that? Why'd I say yes when I meant no? He continues, I'm sure others can agree, since many times in our lives we have to restrain ourselves. It doesn't mean you're being fake. Yeah. I think most of our frustrations with women, politics, the world, and parents and all that is just our inability to be honest with what we say and what we choose to do. We think that let me not be rude, because there's, it's good to be polite and fair. I said it in my recent video. Go watch it. It's a well-adjusted human being. Us humans, we didn't get this far. We don't have thick fur. We can't run faster than other animals. We're not stronger. We're not we are smarter, but we also are smart enough to work in groups, and the aggregate lemming-like, multiplicity of all of that, like the largesse of all of that means that we survive. We don't get to take over the world as single individual people. The human race is being able to flourish because we group together. But we're grouping together now in ways that is fake. We are getting together with groups. We're making videos in a fake way. We're talking in a fake way. We're politically censoring ourselves. You can't say this. You can't say that. We pretend what a man or a woman is. We have to pretend too much. That doesn't do well for our self-esteem, because again, in yourself, performing for yourself, you know you're bullshitting yourself. If you have to pretend, if I have to pretend I hate this microphone if I really like it, because that's the right thing to do, I better not let anyone hear me say otherwise. When you hear yourself say something, you will start to think it's normal. There's nothing wrong with it. And you'll start to think, well, it's true because I say it and I hear everyone says it's reality. Like if I see the sun every day and I feel the sun every day, if I hear birds like, you know what I mean? If you're making the noises and making it reality, it's normal. Even if in the back of your head you think it might not be true or you question, like it is normal, it's reality. Everyone accepts it. It is true. As a social animal, like the society, it's true. But it's not. Your private world, your relational world to other people is awful because you're swallowing stuff that tastes awful. You're pretending things are true when they're not. Where is it? Ted says she wanted a different house because she would take it from you in Family God. It may be. Yeah, I never even got close to moving in with her. I think it was that after the first year period, my honeymoon period's really long. I always have the rose-colored glasses on, probably longer than most people. The older I got, it was quicker. But when I was in my 20s, I was like very, very optimistic. You know, I was all that typical stuff. But yeah, there was another part of her. Like there were just so many signs that the house thing was the final straw. After that, pretty much I broke it off with her. But even before that, I remember when I was looking for a place and I was, no, it was just after we broke up and, you know, I went over to grab, I left a t-shirt or something, whatever. There was a print because I'm into art. I'm somewhat of an artist myself. I draw and do a bit of painting and I'm a very creative person. But there was an artist, a local one, I think it was David Laity. Those of you who are into art in Australia will know who he is. And there was this really beautiful print of a painting he did, and I saw it in a like one of those local galleries in a store, and I was like, oh man, it's the one I like of his, my favorite one. He's made it into a collection of limited edition serograph prints, and it was perfect. And I was looking forward to when I decide which house I'm getting, I'm going to put this in the living room. It'll be perfect. It'll be the centerpiece. I love it. And the print at that time, I think, was like $300. Now it'd be like $1,000. But I really wanted it was worth it to me. And my ex at the time was with me. And she was like, oh, can I chip in? I want to feel like I'm part of it for the future. And, you know, I want to live with you one day. And I want to feel like we did this together. And I'm like, no, you don't have to. And she was insisting. And I think she put in, like, I paid for most of it, right? And I think she put in, if it was $300, she put in 50 or something like that. I put in most of it. And it might have even been $100 she put in. But I know I put in most of it because it was my thing. And I didn't even want her to pay for it. But she just wanted to. And I thought, oh, what a nice gesture. Her heart's in the right spot, even though, yeah, whatever. And when we broke up, I was like, I want to get that painting back because there was nowhere to place it where I was living in my small bedroom with my parents. Like, you know, back then it was under her bed, right? And it was flat laid under her bed, and that's where I could store it in her apartment. And I said, like, I'll buy it from you. And she says, well, are you going to take it from me? I said, like, but that's my painting. I wanted it. Like I'll pay you for it. I'll pay half of it. Like you didn't even pay for half it. No, I'll pay for all of it. It's like, what, you're going to take it from me? And she started giving me the guilt trip and fights and wouldn't let me in. It's like, I'm not going to get the police to knock on the door for this. And she just took it because she could. And then later I noticed she sold it because she looked at the value of it, not because like it was a painting I loved. I didn't want to sell it. So I don't know why I told you that story. I think it was because you guys, someone said she was going to take it from you in family court. Yeah. Anyhow, Aldo says, standing up for yourself ends up being a bit of a tantrum, and that's okay. You don't owe any explanations for wanting what you want, even if it doesn't always make sense. Also, let me know what you think of the microphone sound. I really like it. Bear in mind it's morning. My voice is a bit gravelly, but just let me know what you think of the quality and the balance of the microphone. Hey, Karu, how are you? Aldo says, ultimately, people will disrespect you if it is an option. Depends on the person. Once they do once, they will either stop or keep doing it based on your interaction. Yeah, and your ability to say no or walk away or let them know that you don't like or you see what they're doing. DRVP Scott says, I think many of us Gen X were raised by parents whose primary means of control was emotional manipulation. It was pre-Dr. Spock and popular psychology, yeah. Especially if you're from Europe, East European, like I was. There's a lot of things to admire in terms of the discipline and stoic maturity of being an adult when you need to be an adult and stop being a child. It's time to be an adult. I love that. You know, it was a time where you could discipline your kids in the right way so they would be respectable people in society. And I really like that. But there are other cold aspects that they don't really care that much about your individuality. My parents were good, though. My parents never frowned upon my artistic side. They let me express myself. They just were making sure I wasn't out there doing bad things on the street and what friends I had. So I'm not talking about my family, but generally that side of Europe, it's kind of the colder countries that had to deal with colder seasons and survival more than others. I look at colder countries like Sweden, Russia, the Balkans, where they had to contend with seasons. You couldn't be a child, you know, be an adult. Once that's all taken care of, then relax, have a drink, party, get drunk, you know, draw, write, be a child if you want, but only after the adult things have been taken care of. Yeah. Are you talking about my ex? She was a parasite? Yeah. Okay. Restraining ourselves is also part of being civilized. Civility is non-negotiable for us to survive as a species. Yes. Being reasonable. That's why the golden rule is such a simple way of conducting yourself around other people. If you wouldn't appreciate being treated in a certain way, then restrain yourself. You know, modify yourself so you can curb your emotions. Restrain yourself so you can treat someone else the way you would really appreciate it being done to you. Yeah, I've always kind of thought this. Like, you take a look at cultures that live in very tropical climates where they don't really have to contend with the seasons as much. You got coconuts and fish all the time. You don't have to worry. Have a look at those cultures. A lot of them are happy, but a lot don't have to civilize themselves to a degree. Life is a lot easier, but where a winter can kill you, where if you eat too much of the preserved meat, you don't put enough salt in it, if you don't get up in the morning, however uncomfortable it is, and go out and do things, you can't just say, oh, I don't feel like fishing today, I'll just lay under a palm tree or whatever. And the tropical climates, the people are generally more well-fed. It's people go holidaying there. People generally don't go holidaying to the colder climates. Very rarely. The people that found themselves living there, they learned to appreciate where they were. As such, they could deal with the harsher reality. So there is something in that. I've often thought of the benefits of my mentality, having ancestry from colder climates and having to deal with that. You know, you look at people from Ireland and Scotland and UK and Russia, Scandinavian countries, colder, Finland, and my wife. There's no surprise why I really connected with her. She's very, very rational, very logical. She's a girl, but she can also snap into the reality of up is up and down is down. And some people never had to. And once you get set in that way as an older person, you don't know how to. You just believe what you believe. So you've got to be wary of those kind of people if you have relationships with them. Yeah, as soon as the Germans tried to invade Russia during winter as well, like how uninformed, like could you have picked another season? I think the fuel in the tanks froze and yeah, they were wiped out. Also, the biggest, I think the most resistance the Germans faced in World War II was from trying to invade Russia and trying to go through Serbia, where I'm from. Although they did manage to conquer much more of Serbia. Well, the Croatians sided with them, so that helped them go through Serbia, I guess. Hey, Franz, how are you? Anyway, has anyone else got anything to say on this topic? How long have we been going? Half an hour. This might actually be a good time to keep this stream below about an hour. Because if you guys don't have much to say about this, I'm going to try and keep it a nice, tight stream. Cheers. Coffee from Dolce Gusto Cafe Au Lait. If anyone has the same machine, you know, the one that looks kind of like looks like one of those newer Star Wars Empire characters with the red helmet. Anyway, it's a weird looking machine, but it's a nice coffee. It's one of the few coffee pods you can buy out there that actually comes with milk in them. So you don't have to keep buying milk, keeping it in the fridge. And if you don't have coffee for a long time, the milk or the cream goes off. I have coffee regularly enough, but it's really nice having the freshest cream in a coffee. Coffee tends to really have its flavor changed if the milk is altered even slightly. And those of you who are coffee drinkers will attest to that. Yeah, this isn't surprising either. I think in their hubris, they just, because they could kind of decimate and conquer the people around them as they spread out, they really didn't know much. They didn't factor in the terrain and the climate and things like that as much. I'm pretty sure if Russians were to invade anybody, they would take into account every aspect of strategy when it comes to war. But for instance, let's exaggerate it. Let's pretend the Fijians or the Islanders or the Maoris, they would go out and try and conquer Europe. They would probably fail, not because they're not stronger. They generally are. I respect their brutality and things like that when it's needed. But yeah, I don't think they'd factor in the climate. Bro, it's cold. Tried to read up on the Germans in Norway. They tried to go through a mountain pass where the local villagers had fostered generations of Olympic sharpshooters. A few Norwegians held back German army. Yeah, that's also, what is it, 300? when I think the Turks or the Egyptians tried to invade Greece, you would do well to really research your enemy. Take a look at America recently in the Middle East. Once you go in there, then, oh, okay, this is what the people are like. This is what the terrain's like. This is the picture. It might do well to, yeah. But, you know, America is kind of like that guy that will bear back a prostitute in Africa and then afterwards go, oh my God, I got AIDS. Research, dude, research. Will I go to lunch? I had breakfast, so I probably won't go to lunch. Yeah, this is Sparta. It's a cheesy movie, but I like the, I'm biased with the movie 300 because I'm a comic book fan. I was always a comic book fan before that. And Frank Miller, I think his earlier work, especially, what was it? Not 300, the black and white one that he's known for. Sin City, I think it is. I thought that was really good. But I think my favorite graphic novel from from Frank Miller is Dark Knight, Batman. So anyway, yeah, he made me appreciate Batman. I'm not a fan of superhero comics. I am a huge fan of comics, the medium. And Frank Miller made me like Batman. Before that, I didn't care about any superhero. Anyway, not a fan of the Marvel movies, though. You do the research of or you learn from experience, hopefully surviving it, yes. It's the best way to kind of know what you want. If you take everyone else's advice, if you know your parents mean well, and they're looking out for you. They're telling you to come home before a certain hour, eat your supper, stay away from bad people, things like that, because they do mean well, and they are correct 9 times out of 10. But as you get older and you really have this niggling feeling of what you should do, what you believe in, who you are, and what you want to say, and you're really seeing the picture of yourself coming to clarity, and it's at odds with the people in your life that you love. You genuinely care about them. That's a hard umbilical cord to sever, but it's a necessary one because you have to objectively realize you love them. It's not like you don't love them. You're not saying, I have to say I hate you. I love you. I respect your different points of view. So it's only fair that you respect my different points of view. And if you don't, I have to acknowledge and accept that you don't love me, or you don't love me the way I do. And if you keep hating on me, then I just won't have anything to do with you. I won't talk to you. You know? I've had to do these like little bits here and there. Your people of your family, they use these passive aggressive tricks on you, or they don't mean to, but they treat you the way they did when you were a child. And now it's like you see the manipulation for what it is. Not that they're meaning it, but that's just the way they've always been able to keep you in line. And they don't really know the difference between keeping you safe, looking out for you, and making you do what they want you to do, regardless of what you want to do as an adult. They're just in that mode all the time. So they're not intentionally trying to ruin your life. They're just blind to the fact that they are. They're blind to the fact that they've still chained you to the sink or to the pipe or something, you know, whatever analogy you want to use. And you're trying to tell them, unchain me, you know. But they're afraid that you're going to walk away from them, maybe. They're going to lose something if they don't keep you chained to them in their usual passive-aggressive ways, their manipulations. And again, it's not that they're being these evil Machiavellian geniuses, like twirling their mustaches, your mum, your dad, your girlfriend. Let's be honest. No disrespect to women out there, but you've heard how I speak, the language I use, how I forensically look under the surface, and I can concept connect. Most women that I've been with aren't smarter than me. They just aren't. Objectively, my IQ's higher. I'm not stupid, but I know that I debilitate myself because I'm hardwired by my childhood and, you know, not wanting to disappoint mummy and trying to please the people that I'm with. So it's not that they're smarter. We're not getting frustrated that the people that we say yes to that we'd rather say no to are smarter than us. It's that we can't stop being children. We need to kind of rip the Band-Aid off and tell mum or the boss or cheeky poo no. And if they keep pushing, we need to tell them to fuck off. We just do. Because if they love you, then they won't act like that. And if they're showing they don't love you, then you say the words and you act in ways to people that are hating on you and are not loving you. You ghost them, and if they keep chaining you to their sink or wherever, then you fight for your freedom and you tell them to fuck off. You know, you're not anyone's pet. I'll stay with anyone. I'll help anyone. I'll be nice to people. But I'm not going to be the only civil, fair person. I'm not going to be the only adult in the room, especially if you're older than me and I'm acting more of an adult. I know I am. I just can't be the only fair, intelligent person in the room. And again, I'm not sort of trying to brag or anything, but when it's kind of demonstrably obvious that, fucking hell, you're older than me. Why are you acting like a 5-year-old? You know, you hear these people. You know me. I would never gossip, and all they do is gossip. Have I even talked about this subject? Yes, I have talked about this subject. I'm just ranting. I just like hanging out with you guys, that's all. Yeah, Sin City is pretty good. It's always easier to hate and dismiss than to understand, right? Because that involves introspection. Yeah. But when you get used to having kind of like an equanimity with different points of view, you realize that you never have to be afraid of anything. So if I can actually listen to someone who's talking about things that I think are completely untrue and I think are fairly silly, if I can say, well, let me hear them out, maybe even if they're not going to convince me to change my position, I'm able to respect their position that I don't really care or believe in. I can see it in a more intelligent light. Like, let me learn something. If you're always open, you're off the hook. You don't have to be defensive. You can listen to anything. You can be strong in any situation. Remember, the sign of intelligence is the ability to hold an idea without feeling like you have to absorb it, that it has to be part of you. You know, every single thing that's uncomfortable is not a hot stove, if you don't believe it is. Yes, some things are, but, you know. Yeah, the Persians. DRVP Scott says, you said when you show up authentically in relationships that we would then know if the other person saw and accepted us, we could trust the relationship was genuine. Yeah, you can trust what comes back over time, because I think over time, only the most extreme psychotic, narcissistic psycho can actually pull off long-term lying, especially if you watch my channel, you have these discussions, you read, you concept connect. It's very hard for a stupid, pretty bimbo to manipulate you with batting her eyelids and wearing a short skirt, or the everyday person to do so. If you've got your eyes open and you give people the benefit of doubt and you keep them at arm's length until you know you can trust them, very quickly over time, people show you when they contradict themselves, if they're lying, if they're putting on an act. You'll see it, but you need to be patient, and you just can't give in to their demands. You can't give in to a girl pressuring you to cross a line that there's no coming back from, to say I love you before you're ready, to move in with her before you're ready, to accept something before you want to. I think it was Naval Ravikant that said, or it could be somebody else, I'm not sure, that said, if you're not sure, the answer's always no. That's how you get to know who you are. If you don't know, if a person won't accept, I'm not sure, give me time, I'm not ready, and they're pushing you and shaming you, then the answer's like no. Or the answer's obvious. You should be able to take your time. You should be able to find out and get to the place you need to get to in your own time, not just when someone else wants to, especially if it's a relationship where there's two of you. You have to always remember, when you're being pressured, whoa, What happened here? Can you guys still see me? My connection just went down. Okay. It's still on, I think, but my monitors went blank. Okay. Let me... Yeah, my pop-up just died. Technical difficulties, I swear. But roll with the punches. What else are you supposed to do, right? Okay. We can see you. All right, good. Let me... Why? Oh, there we are. There's Peg. All right. Real time fixing things. I feel like I'm in Fast and the Furious, leaning over the car, like pumping up the tire or something as it's going. All right. Oh, and it's keeping the time. Yeah, my browsers that I'm looking at, they all just went white, and they said not enough information or buffering problem occurred, and everything just went blank. And I had to reload the browsers. But apparently everything else is working. Anyway. Yeah, I hopefully you'll get the gist of my last video and everything I've talked about here. That basically the best way to enjoy life is to be as genuine as you can, to know who your friends are, to know what trust looks like and feels like. And when people say, well, what was it? Someone made a comment recently. Here it is. Yeah, the one I last read. If you show up authentically in the relationship, say your yeses and your nos, learn to just push through that little uncomfortable fear. Regardless if Chicky Poo, your parents, or whoever doesn't like a very reasonable comment or a point of view, as long as it's not demonstrably rude or it's going to get you fired or something, if it's just a polite no or a polite yes, if they're a brat that just wants to hear their answer, then that tells you what it is. Like, we're not stupid. I'd like to think that people that follow my channel and have these discussions and get something from the videos I speak about because you understand the string of words I put together. It's not ghetto speak. It's not pop culture. It's us trying to have more control over our lives by being more civilized and being less afraid, by organizing the confusion here into words and being proud of like what we say and how we conduct ourselves. That kind of person. You're more free when you can do this. When you can articulate the herd of cats in your head. When you recognize what a narcissist is. You recognize what an arsehole is. You recognize what a child is. You recognize what a one-sided relationship is. You recognize what unfair is. You recognize what... Well, I'm sure I know they like me because I'm fair and I'm reasonable and I accommodate and I always say yes. But the moment I ask for something, the moment I ask for a yes from them, I've never asked for one before, but please, like, can you help me out? Or I just want this. It's like, no, shame on you. It's like, really? Okay. You start to live life a bit more honestly. And you start to bitch less as well because... You're not accepting crap. Most of the hate videos, the politics and stuff online, it is pointing to unfair stuff and people who treat others badly. But most of the time it's because we just don't say no and we're too nice. He says, what I encountered was someone wearing a mask who, as you described, decided they would manufacture or engineer whatever relationship they wanted with me. Yeah. People will try to do it. Sometimes they're just used to it. Pretty people, people that grew up like a rich kid with a lot of money, male or female, doesn't matter. Like if they're just used to getting their way, that's just life. That's the trees are green, the sky is blue, water is wet. It's like, but if you're the first person in their life, if you're water and you're saying, nah, I'm dry. It's like, what? I don't like that. That's not reality. That's just what they're used to. What they wanted was my unconditional commitment without making the same investment. Yeah. But again, I think if you talk, people understand the conditional commitments. And then it's like, well, I don't feel like I need to compromise here. We're on the same page, i.e. we're compatible as people to be in a relationship, whether it's platonic or romantic relationship. And yeah, there's no real thing as unconditional love. It's conditional, but you both, your conditions align with your values. So there's no real compromise. It's not like, oh, well, I don't really like their condition, but they're meeting my condition. So maybe each of us can put a red Sharpie through what we really believe in, because they're giving up something and I'm giving up something. And so that's fair. But like, it's not fair if you have to give up something that's very important to you. I'm not going to be with someone who asks me to give up my artistic side. My first ex did that. I was too young and naive. This was when I was like 21. My first serious long-term relationship with somebody. And it felt wrong. And I didn't stop, but I didn't do it around her because it annoyed her. You know, her whenever she saw me drawing and obsessed and giddy with comics and drawing and all that sort of artistic stuff and painting and art, and her response was often, I don't want to be with a starving artist. And I just saw an attack on what made me tick, the things I loved. And, you know, you get older, you got to believe your instincts. It had nothing to do with her. This is my passion. What has it got to do with you, what I like? I wouldn't care if you were into some weird shit. It's not between you and I. It's not the tennis match we play. Strong boundaries are hard to form and maintain with close family, but are needed to maintain your sovereignty without severe ties. It is so much easier, guys and girls, to form strong boundaries if you learn to speak properly. Be interested in language so that you can speak, stand up for, in that Martin Luther King sort of way. When you hear yourself speaking words to people and saying no, and they're beautiful, you're impressed with what you're saying, and they don't know what to say because they're not practiced in having that kind of clear brain to speech dynamic going on. You have nothing to be ashamed about, you know. Learn to speak better. Make YouTube videos where make intelligent videos, consume more intelligent content. Stop watching the ghetto shit, the what currently is the red pill garbage out there. Like, it's not going to save you. It's just going to make you become one of those spurgs that just makes mistakes based on your emotion, and then you just can call men, women, and politics idiots. Look, being liked and loved is a really good feeling, but you have to be aware of what gets you there when it matters. Like, being liked and loved by Stephanie is great, but I know the context by which it happens and why I love her, why she loves me. I can see the connections between getting there, from zero to getting a hug, to being loved, to why she's with me, that your values are aligned. It's not that mysterious. It's like meeting people, coming across them, but the way you interact with them, the words you choose to say and don't say, how you censor yourself, how they insist that you do, that'll tell you a lot of it. Like, I don't want to live in this censored, scared world. Like, why am I only honest on my own in the comment section with my buddies or with one of my friends? We hush, or if you're married, you can only be free and in the shed in the backyard, but when you walk into the house with Chicky Poo and your kids, and that all the rest of your life is all performative. You know it's a lie. I'm not saying you need to be solipsistic and your reality of the world is just the sun revolves around you. You know, don't be a narcissist, but you know what I mean. I'm belaboring the point, but understanding someone also requires that you first accept their behavior, not because you condone it, because you cannot change it. Yes, make people accept your behavior through the language and things you say. That's also a good point. It's not just you accepting them. Again, as guys, we're always like trying to accept reality, accept everything, understand people, make things right. Also, they need to accept reality when it comes from your mouth and how you act. They need to accept it too. You don't just do all the hard work as a guy. It's like, I deal with reality. I build the world. I'm the one that takes care of the family, and I'm the responsible one, and she just wants to have fun, and, you know, everyone expects something from me, and I feel, you know, I pat myself on the back because I go to work and I do all the heavy lifting. It's like, no, make them accept your behavior too. Make them accept your needs. Don't apologize for it. They don't have to give you what you want. But if you're giving everyone at the drop of a hat, you're trying to give everyone what they want, but they refuse to, you're almost invisible. You're almost like, what? Sometimes when you look at it, it really pisses me off when I started to realize how unfair it was. When I started to really see the people that pretend to love you and pretend to say things like they're your friends, they pretend where you put in the effort, to catch up, organize events, you do the heavy lifting, you're always accommodating at the drop of a hat, you're always the reliable one. And the moment you ask, you know, what would happen if I asked for something? Or, you know what, I'm going to be a bit brave. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and just say the things I've always wanted to say, or ask for something. And then you just get shut down. And then you see how unfair it is. It's like, no. All right. Let's see. Any last comments before we head towards the finish line of this stream? Ted says, Paul Elam says that a woman's red flags are there only on if men will listen and look. Sure. I think women's see, this is the sad thing. Once you start making yourself care about them, then they're easy to see. Women's red flags are the most cartoonishly obvious, because everything and everyone can have its own red flags. But if you can't see the obvious ones of the Hanna-Barbera style ones that women show you their entitlement, and you keep ignoring them, then dude, you got no hope with your parents. You got no hope standing up for your boss and getting a job and having a fulfilling life. If you can't deal with a pretty child you're going out with, then you got no hope. Whether it's your friends, family, or a girl or a guy, whatever you are, make the love real. That's what I would say. If it means anything, friendship is not walking on eggshells. Your family love me, a really good, healthy, trusting, they've got me family dynamic isn't like the mafia. Pay up or you're not being protected. That's not love. We're applying 50-year-old logic to 20-year-old. Look, sure, I give younger people the benefit of the doubt. I'm not as hard on them. But like people my age, I see people my age now still talking like they did when they first discovered the manosphere or the red pill. It's kind of, isn't there any more? Are you still angry at your 18-year-old girlfriend? Are you still dating the same recurring 18-year-old girlfriend even now that she's 50? Is that your type? At what point does your type become, even that you want to spit out of your mouth? Like, when does that become even repulsive to you? At what point does the same, girl with tattoos on her neck that's great in bed and is a nutcase that's your age and just looks like she's good for one thing and one thing only, at what point do you stop going, well, maybe this one? At what point? Like when you see a pepperoni pizza and you've had it 100 times, at what point do you say, well, maybe this one's going to taste like shrimp or pineapple or fucking mushroom? Maybe. It's like, at what point do you just know it's going to taste like pepperoni pizza, and pepperoni pizza gives me gastro or something or stomach upset? It's not their fault. It's like, the older you get, it's mostly your fault. When you're naive, yeah, Okay, you're being a nice guy, good faith and all that. I give younger guys the pass more. But when you're older, and I'm saying this to myself, just shut the fuck up. Stop doing the same thing. I'm not going to give you sympathy anymore. Yeah, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. That's true. I've heard that before. Yeah, tell her no. And then you'll know what it is. Wouldn't you rather have reality? Wouldn't you rather know if someone actually loves you or you can trust them? Wouldn't you rather know that you can trust them? It is so good to kind of know you can sleep at night. Like, you know it's true. Anyone can say, well, maybe they, like, yeah, but I know. I've seen the consistency. I've seen the proof. You know, anything's possible, sure. Yeah, I know no one trusts my family. No one trusts my brother. You could say, yeah, my brother could shaft me. I could give my brother a whole bunch of money and he's always been trustworthy. He's a great guy. We always rely on each other. I can trust him. Yeah, technically, I'll give you a mathematical and statistical chance that he could just flip one day and say, I'm taking your money and screw you and I'm never talking to you again. Ha ha, sucker. Maybe. Very, very unlikely. It's kind of like the sun turning pink now, for instance, or green, you know? I don't know. Maybe there's the smallest chance. But, yeah, the exception doesn't swallow the whole. This just, and it's not like people go on about what do you bring to the table. It's like, no, are you both honest? Do you both come to the table honestly? And then just reveal what each other's got? And then honestly saying, yes, no. Yeah. What's that game where you lay cards on the table and you take what you want, what you need? That's all you need to do. It's not that complicated. What do you bring to the table? As though a person can bring all these things to the table that everyone would like great cook, great in bed, great this. You don't have to actually, as though you don't have to consider personality and values. You just have to consider the structure. So if any woman comes that she's beautiful, low body count, no tattoos, can cook really well, wants kids, great family value, like just all of that you're going to immediately fall in love with her and you can get along and everything. Yeah, she's a decent human being. But that doesn't mean it's going to last. I've told people before, I've had most of my exes, serious relationships, they were good people. They were decent, but they were incompatible with me in the end. Two nice, decent people, they just could not fit. We wanted different things in too much different ways. We couldn't see things eye to eye. It was always a struggle. It was always compromise. It was just like death by a thousand cuts. You know, even if you don't find compatibility with someone, the best chance you have is just to try and make it work with a decent person like I tried to, if that's the best you get. But when you find compatibility, you can only recognize it if you've been honest with yourself, like I've been talking about in this video, and like I've been talking about in this stream, in the last video I made. Compatibility revealed itself, but it will not if you're shut to the rules of the politics, like, well, it's only this, this, and this, and I can have a relationship with any woman as long as this magical woman comes off the production line perfect. It's like saying that as long as I get a Bugatti car, the best quality, highest value, that I will love this car more than anything else and I will never want to drive another. It's like, okay, it's valued a lot, but do you like it? Maybe you like four-wheel drives. Maybe you grew up on a farm. Like, yes, technically, but come on, when do you come into the picture? When does your inner world come out to decide? What does the world get to decide what you want? Why do they get to decide what a high-value woman or high-value male is? Why? This is your problem. This was my problem. When you start being responsible for what you want and knowing who you are, then no one else has a say. Mum and dad don't have a say. And you take the risks you want and you don't care about the shaming. It doesn't matter who it comes from. That's the beautiful part of it. That's when you start enjoying life, rather than, I picked the right woman, Mum. Are you happy? I've had a kid, you know, the Fight Club scene. I went to college, Dad. Now what? Get married. Now what? Like, how long are you going to do that for? It's your fault. You keep doing it further. You keep playing that poker game, going more and more in. You feel like you can't go back. At some point, you've got to take the remaining chips you have and leave the table and just be happy with it. Your life will become much better. Relationships, romantic or not, are always conditional. Even if the only currency is just feelings, it's always conditional on something. Yes, you care about someone you want to be cared about as well. Yes. Fairness, reciprocity. Boundaries are another way of saying it. I'm not talking bullshit anymore. Yes, yes, yes. Also, the behaviors we criticize in others due to lack of acceptance tend to be the ones most similar to our own. We don't see it, but we hit a nerve for it. Yeah. This is why in comedy, where I think Bill Burr said it, you laugh at everything I talk about. I talk about this race and these kind of people and men and women and stuff. But once I talk about fat people or something that you're sensitive with, then all of a sudden it's not a joke. It's a statement and I'm offended and you can't say that. People always get triggered and sensitive about the things. So also with me, if I get kind of triggered about something, it's like, okay, why am I getting so emotional about it? Like, ask yourself, is it really the behavior or am I exaggerating my reaction because it's really hitting a nerve for me? Yeah, that's typical for most guys. But that's also not an excuse. How long are you going to say, well, that's nature. That's what guys like. That's the way it is. Okay, then that's the way the suffering is too. And then the person, this is what that bugs me, is that the person that says not enough, you try and fix the problem. You try and be disciplined and then you succeed. People go, oh, you're lucky. You can just do that. David Goggins is an extreme example, okay? I get it, like who's like him. But people laugh at his ultra discipline, but isn't it better to lean in his direction, at least a little bit? Like just lean towards his side of saying what you mean and pushing yourself in that direction rather than being so relative that you tend to always lead on the side of, sabotaging your own life and being embarrassed of things. Ted says, women do not want relationships or love. Most don't. Women want leverage and men want the leniency and latitude to not be held personally. And women want the leniency and latitude to not be held personally accountable. Yeah, it's like true. Generally, sometimes, especially the women online and most of the ones I went out with, but also men have their faults too. You can't just say, we're nice little boys and why can't all these women be like mummy? And then again, was your mummy really that great? Or was she controlling as well? I am 50, yes, I dated a 48-year-old woman who had the maturity of teenage girls. Yes, so did I. I never went for younger women. People will say, Stephanie's 15 years younger than me, but I'd never sought out younger women because I thought, what am I going to talk about with them? But most women who are my age, they had the maturity of a teenage girl. That's a stupid thing. I just went on age. I assumed, well, chances are if you're my age, you on aggregate, you probably be mature. But no, if you're my age as a girl and you're out in the dating pool, it's kind of like the smart guys didn't want to be with you because your brain didn't mature. And you're my age, you're 40s, 50s. And I'm hoping you're mature, but no. Like if you were mature, you probably would have settled down with somebody. Aldo says, the quality in a partner that will never get old is a willingness to allow you to be your true, unfiltered self around them with a minimal, if any, need for masks. Not a forced willingness either. Yeah. It is so beautiful to just be yourself unapologetically and also intelligently. Well-spoken, fair. You're aware, like when you feel guilty, you know you should feel guilty because you're treating someone in a way that you wouldn't want to be treated. You made a mistake. You can say sorry. It's really nice when you're honest just to speak and be that way. So there's no downsides. Once you, because we're not used to ripping that Band-Aid off and initially, whether it's our health or our relationships with people, the things we've always been stuck in since childhood that have been imprinted on us. Once you, it's only a Band-Aid. It hurts when you do it. And then after you do it, immediately you realize that wasn't as bad as I thought, or that was actually really enjoyable. I thought I was going to experience pain. I experienced euphoria standing up for myself. Even to yourself, like in your brain, like that bad voice in your head, or to a person outside of you, like a parent or a girlfriend who acts like that bad voice in your head, manipulating you and putting you down and making you shameful. Because a lot of times we have the voice in our head that's like that, that's a bad friend, puts us down, like an overbearing parent, and then we go out with them as well because it's familiar. We probably had the same childhood. But the moment you say, like, I don't like that, let me do what's healthy for me. Let me not just talk about what's the right thing. Let me choose the right thing. It's not, it doesn't feel like ripping off a Band-Aid. You rip it off and you feel euphoric. It's almost like being a pain freak, but it's not pain anymore. You think it's going to be painful, but you become a masochistic. It's pleasurable. It's like, yeah, let me do the uncomfortable thing. Let me rip it off. This is fun. Because you immediately feel a surge of confidence and righteousness. And yes, I'm proud of myself, rather than doing what people want, never being loved, never being seen or understood, and hating yourself for it. Do the right thing, however uncomfortable, and you'll probably feel a lot better. Hey, Darren, how are you, dude? It's my most basic pair, actually. I got the falling down pair of glasses as well. I don't mind these either, but these aren't actually great for the screen. But whoa, fucking hell. These are more for drawing and writing. Hey, Boffin, how are you, dude? From the time I was a boy, my mum dreamt of me becoming a world-class male escort. Was I wrong to take up a technical profession instead? Well, it was well-meaning. Like, you wanted to make your mum proud, but you just you saw the real you, I guess. And even though you wanted to, you just couldn't. Thanks, Christos, for joining. I appreciate it, dude. Yeah. And rather than getting caught up in the psychology of boundaries and ethics and narcissism and borderline and all that, look at it simply and it'll help you actually do the right thing. Just recognize you have every right to say what you want in a beautiful, eloquent, civilized way. And if people who haven't put in that work to verbalize themselves properly and they're just trying to shame you and acting like kids, they're not right. You're more right than they are because you're trying to be a better person. You're trying to be a higher human being. I can't even pronounce human being. It's a word. Yeah, if your partner doesn't bring peace and respect and you have that in your life already, they need to fit in your life and make it better. You know, a few people have asked me with Stephanie, you know, I had a good life and so did she before we met. She just brings a warmth to it, an extra warmth that I didn't have before. Let me see. Any final comments? Conventional wisdom always said that girls mature earlier. I think they mature earlier from late teens to early 20s, and then men kind of catch up and then go past them. That's right, yeah. What has happened to him? I don't know. Just look on the internet. Go in a shopping center. Talk to people in your life. You'll just sort of see. I think they've just had their egos inflated unrealistically. They've been told they're worth it. Look at the commercials. You're looking like a professor on a break. Yeah. Seriously. Yeah, I don't know. Who cares? Seriously. All you have to ask this stuff to the people in front of you. That's all that matters. This is an interesting political intellectual question, you know, when you get around with guys and you have podcasts. It's fun. This is fun to talk about. What has happened to women in general, society in general, where will this be in 5 years? But you only have an equanimity about all of this stuff if you can also answer, what's going on with you? What do you want? Like, say you're sitting across from somebody. I've had this problem. What do you think? Make it personal. That's the better question to answer between you and somebody else. And then this stuff is the extra fun stuff. Honestly, I've realized many modern women say that they want a man who leads, but want relationships where in the end they hold absolute control, able to influence. Yeah. Sure. But this is why I say I'm not saying what you're saying isn't true about how people act, politics, the world and all of that, and women and how they've kind of gone downhill. I get it. It's hard to find a good woman. It's hard to find a good relationship. But if you're a dirtbag guy as well, it's like impossible. You can't pretend to be a dirtbag and look for a perfect relationship. Like, you have to be one half of the good equation if you're wanting the other half. Otherwise, you're going to poison that anyway and blame them. But use this righteousness. Don't talk like this on a date to girls. Don't go, what do you think about women and men and stuff? Ask them. It's like, what do you think about this? Oh, really? So what happens if a guy does this? Do you think that's bad or whatever? Because I believe this. Make it all personal. Don't talk about women, because then people get their guard up. If a woman started saying, oh, men today, you'd be like, oh. But if she says, how would you act? What would you do? You're still open. You're getting to know the person. Don't talk politically one-on-one to people if you're on a date or, you know, with friends, it's different. You can talk like you're not trying to have an intimate relationship. But on a date, don't talk about women and men in plural. You can if you want, but you're going to push away intimacy. Intimacy is one-on-one. If you're curious about these men and women questions and you want to talk about them, make them singular. Ask her. Be interested in talking about yourself. Like, well, me, I want this. I think, or I would act this way. This is what I want. This is what I think is correct. You know, always pull it back to the personal, the one-on-one. That's your best chance of honestly assessing. But if you go on a date with this wall between you and she's talking about men and you're talking about women, you're going to find every excuse to find a crack and see her as every woman. You know, really interview her and she can interview you in a fun way. Make it personal. Don't generalize it. Generalizing is fun when we're talking about politics, but all this men, women stuff, if you're frustrated on dates and you're frustrated by what you keep hearing and seeing in your personal life with women and men, address it on the personal level. You won't get anywhere. You're just going to keep shouting louder and louder into space. We rag on women because we can commiserate with other men on the topic. That's true. It's a vent. We have faults of our own. We find it more acceptable than racism, but it's not all that different at its core. Yeah, you can say the same thing with kind of racism. You live amongst certain people, they seem to act a certain way or whatever, but then if you have a one-on-one with that person, that skin color, and they show themselves to be different, you have to not see them like the rest of them. Yeah, you can generalize when you don't know anyone. That's why when you go on a date with someone, you have to treat them like an individual. You have to. Otherwise, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're wasting your time on a date. You're just wanting to get a female body into bed and cookie cutter treat her like everyone else. And you can do that, but then she was just like everyone else. Yeah, because you basically forced each other to be that way. You had no interest in the inner world of the other person. Again, you don't have to, but she's just like everyone else. Hey, Nina. Turlock, California. Never heard of Turlock, but welcome. They just want to be treated well. We talk in our languages, guys. They want leverage, like their IQs are above 140, and like there's some sort of Sharon Stone trying to play this complicated chess game, and they're better than us. Or it's not like that. It's just they just want what they want. I think sometimes it makes us feel smart by casting them in a intelligent plan. Like, this is what they want. They're hypergamous. No, she wants something prettier. She wants the new thing. She's shopping. She's tired of her old handbag. She wants the new handbag. She's hypergamous. Briefolt's law states that blood, like, they don't think that way, dude. Like, yeah, it looks that way to us when we're trying to intelligently explain it to make us, to kind of put a Band-Aid on the wound, to make sense of things in a intelligent male sort of way. But that's not what she's doing. That's what she's doing when we explain it to ourselves, and it makes us make sense of things. But they're just, they like new shit. They want to be safe. And most people just find someone attractive and try and force it to work. That's what most people do. But when you start thinking, you have to be responsible. Otherwise, if you just do what you've always done, it's your fault. You can't watch The Matrix and not be enlightened to some degree and then pretend you haven't watched The Matrix before and see the world the same way. You can't. Yes. Nothing happened to it. Women are generally the same. Yeah, they've kind of, it's like, we used to eat healthier. They've just kind of said, here, you can have all the donuts you want. And people have gotten fatter and more ridiculous and gross and stupid and childish. But at heart, we're the same. Like, men and women haven't changed in their heart wiring. You have horrid taste. Thanks, Ronan. Very thankful of you so much. I've learned and progressed thanks to you, and still living in real time, bettering myself, becoming a bit bigger thing, not just gender issues, but so much more. I've entered a different dimension looking at my past. Yeah. You've always struck me as a guy that's switched on, wanting to grow and just wanting to continue that muscle happening. Like, I like learning, growing, and all of that, and I don't want it to stop. I don't ever want to feel like, yep, I know everything, I'm a master, let's just sit and retire. I never want to retire from this. This feels so good, just moving and growing and not being who I was 10 years ago. Know who you are, but Aldo says, if you bring... Oh, thank you for the super chat, by the way, Ronan. I appreciate it. Aldo says, if you bring a confrontational, adversarial attitude to an interaction with a woman, you will pull confrontation out of her almost as if by magic. Yeah, also, you have to value that if you want something to be real, you have to, for the maybe immediate, like if you go on a date, if you're real and honest, if you're not, you have to not want to get her into bed immediately, because if she's going to be different to the rest, you'll get her into bed anyway. You have to have the discipline in the moment of assessing somebody that they might be a predator. They might not be good for you at all. Otherwise, if you step into an obvious bear trap, it is a lot on you. 9 out of 10 men, when they tell me their stories of their horrific girlfriend, they tell me what happened. I go, oh shit, she sounds terrible. You know, yeah, you're correct. And then they tell me, and then the more they reveal, I'll say, well, from the start, did she have a temper? Yeah, she was always, well, in the beginning, didn't you notice this? Yeah, I did. So it's like, yeah, you just liked her and you just kept excusing a lot of things. Have the discipline of controlling yourself and not needing to get to the peach right away. The shock mount on this microphone is really good. Look at this. Like, I keep hitting it, and even in my last video, it doesn't really distort the audio that much. It's a really good shock mount. You will always interpret the actions of people based on whatever is going on in their mind. If you are insecure by nature, for instance, that is where your interpretations will all begin. Yeah. If you kind of are honest about your interactions, your fears, your insecurities, you'll go a long way into being able to ameliorate them and see them for what they are, and also not apologize. You can sort of say, oh yeah, I'm a bit insecure about this, without apology to women, anyone. It's a great power to have, not to apologize for something that's actually real. Yeah, I've got this, I'm working on it. Because a lot of people fake it. I'm great. Some people think they just read Power of Now and they're cured just because it enlightened them a little bit. No, it just opened the door. It means you're supposed to keep going. It means you're supposed to keep doing it. You don't just say yes in here, you say yes out there through your words and actions. Anyway. Let me refresh the chat. I'm curious why the stream bombed before on my screen. I've got an excellent connection, but something in the browser, I think it's got to do with YouTube. Just didn't like it. So anyway, thanks for everyone who super chatted. Any final questions before I wrap the stream up and enjoy my Sunday? I'm not sure if I'm going to go to the gym later. I've been doing pretty well. I've been getting back into it. I think the last month, say the last 3 weeks especially, since I rejoined about a month ago. And I've been going 6 days a week. It's been really good. The muscle memory's coming back, but the body's taking a while to recover, so it's good. I usually give myself Mondays or Sundays off, but I'm not militant about it. But anyway, going well. All right. Come on, where are the comments about what do you think of the microphone? Does it sound okay, or it sounds like the other ones? Do you notice a difference? Not the looks, just how it sounds. No, I don't need your approval. I'm just curious. I'll listen to it after this anyway, so it doesn't matter. All right. Thank you for the members who joined. Thanks, Prakir, for the Christmas presents. Thanks for the super chats, everyone, the questions, and leave your comments under the latest video. It was really nice to reflect on all of that, and I want to know what you guys think. This stuff, the videos and the streams I do, it's nicer when it becomes a conversation amongst self-reflecting, mature individuals. All right. I think that's it. Peg says it's good. Ooh, Boffin says the mic sounds a tad more muddy than the other standard. Okay. Karu likes this mic for some reason a lot. I don't know if he likes it now during the stream, because the stream might alter it during compression. But what did you think? I used the same mic in the last video. That's the least compressed one, because during a stream, real time, it gets a bit crunched. Not much. All right. Thanks, Peg. All right. All right. Anyway, I'll listen to it later. Hope you enjoyed the stream, everyone. And yeah, any questions below, watch the videos, and I'll see you in the next video or live stream. Enjoy your weekend. Don't be a douchebag. And yeah, be honest to people, for yourself, not for them. It's not to be nice to people. If you're honest and nice to yourself and you're upfront, you treat people the way you want, it's liberating for you. You see arseholes because you decided to act a certain way, and you see when someone responds like they're cut from your cloth, they act like they're respectable, and you start to recognize more and more people that don't act like you, that you don't want to be around, that you don't want to please anymore, that you don't care at all what they think of you, and you don't care about keeping a smile on their face. However, they wince and go, but you don't care. Yeah. I had that on my channel for a while this last couple of years when I had a few people attacking me after I announced I got married for, I don't want to go into all that anyway, but I started to say, what am I trying to make them understand? And like, the people that follow me do, and it's like, I'm done. Like, just let it go. Let people, you don't have to prove, you don't have to make everyone love you. You don't. If you explain yourself, you clarify yourself, you say what you meant, you can't keep apologizing forever by being a good boy. You can't. Don't be an asshole, but... All right. Have a good weekend, everyone. Thanks for joining. And I didn't even use the title. I wanted to... Why no one ever gets you. There we go. Anyway, I got lost in all of the blabbing. I'll talk to you next week, guys. And have a good one. Start a YouTube channel, everyone. All right. Catch you later.